went to some country in North America to market coffee, and that is the highest producing coffee country in that continent. So you wonder, you are going to sell Miera in Meru, and Meru is producing Miera for Kisumu and other counties. So all these things, I think, they are things that must be well thought of economically. What misses in this concept is inclusion of economic perspective. We are trying to solve both economic problems with a political mentality. It has never worked. It has never worked. That is where you will see people like Moses Kuria coming to tell you that you will definitely die as a Kenyan. Let us just put you GMO, you also die, because at the end of the day you will die. No, we can die, but everyone is fighting to live. You don't need to confirm to us that you will die. After all, what if God's calling before us? What will he tell the angels? Because I know there are people in this government, however prayerful they are, if they die today, hell straight away. No heaven for you. No matter how many times you call God, 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 even God is tired of you. You saw God of the living shaming them during El Nino. The meteorological department is employing, the office of the First Lady is employing overseers to pray for climate. University of Nairobi and other universities in the country have produced meteorological students who are jobless. Instead of hiring these young men and women to showcase their professional efficiency, you are calling for a prayer. My friend, in as much as religion, faith, and Christianity is a reality, there comes a time that common sense must be let to manifest. Sure. Why do you pray? You are sick. You've been diagnosed with malaria. You've been told to take anti-malarial drugs. Then you still kneel down and start praying. Even God wants to help those who want to help themselves. So, as I sum up, I want to say it without any fear of contradiction that our country is currently in shambles. We have missed it. I was an ardent supporter of Kenya Kwanza. I have worked with the president, by the way, for record's sake. I have worked with the Prime Cabinet Secretary as the youth leader. These are people I used to sit with on a daily basis. And I started disagreeing with the president long time ago. I'm the only youth who would oppose the president in the WhatsApp group, because what he was saying wouldn't make sense to someone like me, a typical village youth who has gone through the economic turbulence in this country. There are things that when you start saying, it doesn't make sense. The president allocated almost all the money in the treasury budget during his campaign. Tumetenga bilioni 100, tumetenga bilioni 40 ya kuenda kwa bima ya afya. The moment he took power, he brought these things called SHIF, the digital healthcare scheme, the primary healthcare scheme. The court says that we wait for up to February for this matter to be determined, to ascertain the constitutionality, the legality in it, because the courts works to ensure that fairness, the rule of law, the freedom is upheld, and the fairness is very critical. So the court even pointed out at a particular provision in that scheme that was going to sideline Kenyans on the basis of acquisition of that health scheme to acquire government services. The government still went ahead. The Nakumincha-led ministry came to tell us that by December we should give our opinions so that by January it comes into effect. A government that passed through Supreme Court doors in order to access State House is the same government that could not listen to what is being said through Supreme Court affiliated courts. I mean, my friends, the president must respect the court rulings. He is a product of an election that was contested all the way to the Supreme Court. The moment it was contested, the Supreme Court gave a verdict. As the people of Kenya who are law-abiding citizens, they decided to respect what the court had pronounced. What is wrong with the president respecting very simple court directives? He cannot respect court orders. He doesn't respect the doctrine of separation of power in the COK 2010 and balances and checks. He says, mwenye atakosa kupigia hiyo bill kura, atajua juu. Imagine a president is the head of parliament. Indirectly, he controls parliament, and this is what the president misses. President William Ruto is confusing parliamentary majority with the popular legitimacy. Those are two different perspectives that when you miss, there is no government there. In as much as you may have power over parliamentarians, the people's sovereignty still remain unmatched, independent and unswayed. That's why the president is currently very popular in the outside world. But here, people are speaking something negative about him, and no one wants to tell him. Those henchmen, lazy politicians sitting around the president, sipping tea and mandazi lazily like jobless men and women of our class, will not tell the president what he ought to be told. They want to tell him what he wants to hear. The NADCO committee report, which is the elephant in the house. I am a scholar. By so saying, I recognize the living aspect of the Constitution. It's a living document. In so saying, adjustments here and there are very necessary. But circumstances for constitutional adjustment or change must be justifiable, especially when we are economically able to sustain the the referendum marathon. The moment we are struggling to put a cup of tea on the table, we've just come from an election which was contested all the way to the Supreme Court. Then you are still talking of us going to a referendum. The unanimous endorsement of the NADCO report by both Parliament or the MPs and the executive plus the opposition is the highest betrayal to the people of Kenya. It is going to be a contest between His Excellency President William Ruto led factor, the Raila Odinga led function, and against the people of Kenya. And we will win, by the way. We will win. No miracle is going to work. No matter how hard you try to untwist this, Chebukati, this is above you.
We will win.
We will win. Whatever you do, we will win. Because the people, here we are talking of a scenario of a billionaire being created for a position by a jobless, angry young man. This young man here has no job. He can't pay rent, he can't buy sukuma wiki.
Yeah.
Hata ile mama mboga, Ruto hata sahi ametotoa kwa mama mboga. Alisema mama mboga ndiye atajenga serikali. Sisi ni watoto wa mama mboga. My mother sells viazi there in Chiga Market down in the Great Lakes city of Kisumu. Hata watoto wa mama mboga wameanza kusahau mboga. Hata hiyo mboga iko. They don't produce mboga. They want to overtax mama mboga. Sasa tutakula nini?
Kula watoto wa mboga.
So when that time comes, these people will come and start eating you. That is the truth.
Absolutely.
They will start eating you. Na nimeona vitu mtandaoni inaitwa the Njaa Revolution. Don't take these things for granted. As an historian, I do recall the Jasmine Revolution in Tunisia in 2010 and factors that led to that particular revolution. The high cost of living, corruption, in-depth corruption in government structures, political injustices, electoral frauds, police brutality. You saw what happens to Mohamed Bazoum. He had to leave power. Kenya has been a stable country in as much as we've been praised as a calm city amidst a turbulent sea. You've seen our neighboring countries like Uganda, Somalia, Eritrea, etc. They've been up and down in chaos, but we've been very peaceful. Therefore, besides all these glorifications, we must be cautious enough not to stretch and step on the people's foot. An angry man is an angry man. No one will discuss about economic resuscitation with an empty stomach. No one will speak about technological advancement or moving towards a techno-service society with an empty stomach. No one will talk about fairness. No one will speak about justice. No one will speak about free and fair elections. No one will speak about a youth-friendly entrepreneurial business environment with an empty stomach. We as young people, we don't need help from the government. Actually, the government can help itself. And by the way, why should government help us? A government has no money. That money belongs to me. I'm a taxpayer. Yes, that is our money. So why should you use our resources to help us? We employ the government to run our affairs on our behalf. All they need to do is to ensure that in so doing, they embrace the MPH principle. That is meritocracy, pragmatism, and honesty. The current revelations in this Kenya Kwanza government is a backstab on the MPH principles. They have been singing of the astronomic economics and equating it to the Singaporean miracle. There was no miracle in Singapore. Those people embraced meritocracy. How did the president hire his cabinet? He just confirmed the other day that some of the cabinet ministers do not understand exactly what happens in their ministries. Meritocracy X. We talk of pragmatism. How realistic is pumping 40 billion out of 12 billion investment as to the economy? Pragmatism missing. Honesty. Why would you import a substandard oil products, edible oil, to the people of Kenya? The deputy president is seeing, they first prophesied non-existence of El Nino. El Nino came, now is saying it is us who are taking ourselves to the floods. So I wonder, that woman who was being swept in Mandera or Garissa, whether she took herself to that situation. That was a pregnant woman who was going to give birth maybe to the savior of this nation, because this current administration has failed. Maybe that was the Messiah we were waiting for. They are saying that boy and the mother took themselves to the floods. Really? Where are we headed as a country? Small countries like these neighboring countries, I would not call them for the interest of diplomacy. They are doing well when it comes to FDI, that is financial development investment. They are doing well when it comes to GDP. They are doing well when it comes to per capita income. What are we doing? We are struggling even to buy a cup of, it's not even a cup. We call it a tumbler of coffee. A tumbler of coffee. Because tumblers are no longer used in clubs. Gone are the days when someone would get time to sip at least 1, 2, 3 sips in the entertainment joints. Nowadays, people are really struggling to put ugali on the table. The ugali we are eating is a product of GMO. GMO has a long way health risks. Some of these MPs or parliamentarians have never handled a cancer patient. I speak as one who has dealt with a cancer patient. I have worked in a regional health facility, and that's why when I speak of a country that is stagnated from the economy, health and security, I speak of what I know. Go to the public hospitals. The vital drugs are not available. The procurement teams are the same people who open outlets of pharmacies outside the hospital setups. You go for a vital drug in a public hospital, it's not there. But you walk into a small scale kibanda, equivalent to a public toilet outside in the name of a pharmacy, you find a very expensive drug. Then you ask yourself, what is the miracle behind the drug moving from a chemistry or a production center all the way to these small pharmacies and not a public hospital?
Actually, they refer you.
They refer you. They will tell you, go to XYZ pharmacy. These are medics in these public hospitals. No one is talking about that. Someone is coming to tell you SHIF. NHIF has been funded with billions, and NHIF fails to provide vital surgical cost that is required as per the insurance scheme. A lot of people are queuing still in the hospitals waiting for NHIF approval. Why should we remit? Then after remittance, the money is not there. Who is this NHIF? Who is the patient in NHIF list, if not the people of Kenya? NHIF has not been, the issue has not been finalized. They are up in games with another scandalous scheme called SHIF, which do not meet both common and legal framework. I want to tell the president that in as much as we are the commander-in-chief, now we are those chiefs. We are the people. Not unless the provisions of Article 1.1 has been revoked, we will feel powerless as the people of Kenya. But the moment the provision is still intact, and the statistical report of the youths being 75+%, we will hold you to checks. Whether you hold countable, you capture parliament and pocket it and the judiciary, you will never capture an angry population. That one I can tell you. No matter how much amount of money you splash in the economy to buy the hustlers through the UDA party, I want to urge the youths, whenever you see a UDA party agent splashing out money, take that money, eat, and when it comes to election, vote in a manner that you see or deem fit for you. Do not just vote because so and so is there. I had warned the young people against Kenya Kwanza government when I was exiting ANC, and I told them the potential risk of voting this government. Some of them took me for granted. What I would see then has taken them 14 months to see, and yet more is to come. But we are saying the rule of law must be respected. The people must respect the structural separation of power in the country, and the government must also respect the people.
Absolutely.
We must, very soon, if the trend of ministers dodging parliamentary sittings and special committees continue, we will summon them in the public domain. If they fail to appear, we will initiate their removal from office. Nothing will happen. They will go. We must be accountable. A government that is not accountable to its people is not even accountable to the rule of law. Is not even accountable to the to God Himself. So who are they accountable to? You find Parliament is taking orders from State House, and there is a lot of bureaucracy and opulence in this government. The government is living like a rich woman while the people are living like slum dwellers. How do we call them? Victims of squatters. Yes, citizens are living like squatters and refugees. The government, yesterday I saw Aaron Cheruyot Kenya Kwanza tournament in Kericho. They landed with a bunch of notes. The deputy speaker is telling Kenyans to tighten their safety belts. We are amidst a turbulent sea, but with them they are living like kings in Dubai. Where are you getting that money? Why do you think we have the monolithic patience to sit and wait for you mismanage our lifetime, our social welfare as we watch? Never. There comes a time that even the most patient person develops impatience. And an impatient, angry man is equivalent to troubles. Providing security to the people do not mean deploying police in the streets to work with the guns and etc. Security narrows down even to consumption. We have seen instances where the credible edible oil that I've been talking about, the substandard aspect. Why would you import a poisonous product for the people to consume? The Kenya Bureau of Standards also told us that quality checks depends on you. KEBS stickers do not justify quality of the standards that you're going to consume. So in which country are we living in? We're living in a country where you ask a police about security issue, they don't know. You ask a KEB officer why a substandard commodities in the market, they tell you the responsibility begins with you. We're having a government that you are being swept by floods. They are telling you, stop going to where the floods are, and the floods found you there. You don't have a country here. So as I wind up, I would say, for the interest of democracy, the rule of law, that there shall come a time that no one will speak to the people in a language they will understand. I'm not preempting anything funny, but the writings are on the wall. The people are tired. The people are angry. This is the time the president should humble himself like he used to take uji and githeri with Mama Mboga and watu wa boda boda. He should visit those boda boda guys and ask them, what is the cost of fuel? What is the cost of this? My grandma used to tell me that during President Kenyatta's, that is Jomo Kenyatta's regime, people used to walk in plain clothes in retail shops. They would ask for a price of sugar and buy. They would compare it with the government regulated price. If you go against that, they would arrest you. Here we have a scenario where cartels are importing sugar, repackaging them in existing company brands, then selling poisonous sugar to the people of Kenya. KEBS is watching. They're telling us they're powerless. KRA is there just to take money. I mean, we are taking this country for a ride, and not for so long will this continue. Whatever begins must end. The ending depends on the circumstances that prevail, the actual ending. I'm not preempting anything, but I'm just saying it will be taken as it comes. So I want to advise the president that you are the commander-in-chief. You have the power to hire and fire. A minister an economic advisor. You know, by the way, it is in the records that David D, who is one of the economic advisors to the president, called our president a thief severally on his tweets. Today he says it's not going to be accountable to lies and etc. The problem facing President Ruto is that he is working with people who do not believe in him. That is the problem. David D suspects him. David D advises him. All these people, Alfred Mutua, said everything about the president. So it is not a matter of politics. We are looking at the morality, the fairness in the statements you make against someone. Some may be derogatory, destructive, but at the end of the day, what those people say are actually manifesting. They no longer care for anything. So I want to urge the entire people of Kenya that you choose to be calm. I'm not telling anyone to do anything. Do what you feel is right for you, but never entertain impunity, never entertain corruption, never entertain illegalities, because we are the people of Kenya and this country belongs to us. We just donate a piece of power to some of the few individuals to run our errands on our behalf as the bosses, as we fund them, working overzealously to ensure that tax is paid. Now students are going to go to school in January. Parents and a lot of number are going not to report to school. It is a worrying state that even the university after allocation, various students fail to turn up for the colleges and university placement slots. We are just moving on as a country. We are just moving on, nothing is happening. What are we generating? Thugs. The problems in Haiti did not start as a miracle. Some of them started this way. So we must ensure that the right thing is done by the right person. If you can't do it, go away. You're not the only person living. Kenya has got 40+ million people.